We're in it. What's up, Stitt heads? Welcome back to another Talking Stitt. We're gonna have some fun tonight, and I've been kind of ranting and raving on social media lately about World War III and the possibilities of this, that, and the other, and common politics and bullshit. We're gonna put some of that aside tonight because we might have averted World War III. So let's just put it on the back burner. We're gonna bring back a returning guest who I've been asked many times to bring back, and I'm glad this is gonna happen this way. Dave Weiss, aka Flat Earth Dave. We're gonna talk some real shit tonight. We're not gonna talk left, right paradigm politics. We're gonna have some fun with it. So welcome back to the show, Dave. How you been, brother?
I'm doing good, man. What's happening? Glad to be here talking Stitt.
Talking Stitt. Hell yeah. Well, hey dude, I really appreciate you coming back, man. You're just a wealth of knowledge and it's like, you know, we can talk flat earth, we can talk so many other things because some people like kind of pigeonhole themselves into only that one subject. But what I love about your information and listening to you and having you on as a guest is that there's a lot more rabbit holes that go deeper than just the firmament alone, and a lot of people stop at that. And no pun intended, but you don't have to stop at that. And that's kind of what I wanted to bring up first is let's go beyond the ice wall, like my background picture, man. How far do you think it goes?
That's a question that I really can't answer. If I have to guess, people say, well, what's beyond the ice wall? And again, when you say the ice wall is the shoreline of our world pond. Think of all the oceans as a big pond. You need land that's higher than the ocean. Antarctica is over double the average height of all the other continents.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the shore that contains our waters. Now, does it go all the way around, or maybe there's openings and there's another landmass outside of where we're allowed to go? So again, I don't know, but I say, what if some people are biblical firmament people like, well, God said the firmament and the earth, and there's no land beyond there. Like, did God say how far the firmament connected? Maybe it connects 1,000,000 miles south of 60 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
That's 1,000,000 miles in all directions. That leaves a lot of extra space.
Oh yeah.
So, let's say 1,000,000 miles.
Well, let's say also, I think that's, it pigeonholes people sometimes too, where they think like, well, you start to realize that the earth is not what we're told it is. And then you're like, well, it's not a sphere. But then whenever you take the idea of the igloo, or not igloo, but well, yeah, I guess the same shape, but the snow globe, then you're like, well, you just cut the distance in half. Now you have half of a sphere, which in a weird way seems like more of a prison. That's what I've always kind of thought. I'm like, well, if you're just taking the snow globe approach, like, who knows what else could be out there?
Yeah. And then when they say atmosphere, Glober's like using that against us. Well, air doesn't have shape. It takes the shape of its container, just like
Hmm.
water takes the shape of its container. And it takes the shape of a sphere, perhaps. Maybe the dome is spherical and the air takes that shape. So we call it the atmosphere.
And we see the old maps and some of them that are like crazy where it does show. I just always, for people that don't want to understand, like what a flat earth map or whatever, what it would look like, you're like, no, dude, it's like going ice fishing. You're cutting that circle and then you have that giant, sliver of ice still, and then you could cut another circle. So they're like ponds. And it's like, who's to know what else is out there beyond? Because we see some of these old maps that have countries that don't exist anymore, but not because the names change, but we see bodies of land that aren't on our current maps or globes or whatever. We also see that people talked about outer lands and different stories, books, hundreds and hundreds of years
Lots.
ago.
Yeah, lots of stories about outer lands, the Smoky God, the Iron Republic, lands beyond the ice wall. I'm a big fan. Now, I'm not making any claims of, I call it pond theory, where we have different ponds.
Hmm.
We have, different ponds all across the land. And one of my favorite fun books is The Navigator Across the Ice Wall, and all the other books that I forget his name is writing now. They're pretty fun. They ring a lot of truth to me. But again, until we have free and access to free energy airships and stuff, we're not going to know for a while.
That's what kind of brings it all together is because these people don't realize like we look into these things because we're like, yeah, first it's interesting. And then a lot of the times people go into things to debunk it. And then the more you start digging in, you're like, well, the facts we're told don't add up to what we thought they did anyways. So then it kind of just piques your curiosity more. And so you're not being a detective anymore. You're being, like a kid going to the library. You're loving it at this point. And something switches. And so we realize that like what else has been hidden from us? It gets into the idea of Tartaria and free energy and things like you were just alluding to.
Dude, everything has been hidden from us. Everything is a lie. The William Casey, CIA director, said once everything the American people believe is a lie, our job will be complete. Now, I knew that. I heard that statement decades before I became a flat earther. And I was like, oh, come on, everything, it can't be everything. It is everything. It's literally everything. You're talking about, we almost went to war. A war on what? Nuclear, that we're afraid that Iran's going to have nuclear bombs, right?
Thank you.
Netanyahu said every year since 1990 that they're just a month or two away from getting nuclear bombs, right? Nuclear bombs aren't real. They're fake. If you don't know that yet, go to my website, flatearthdave.com, scroll down to the nuclear bombs banner, and listen to the research that's been done for you. We're spoon feeding it for you. You don't have to do any work. Just put in your earphones, go mow the lawn, take a bike ride, listen to,
Right.
and then you'll know that nuclear bombs aren't real. So whenever you hear, there Trump did this and Putin did this, and that it's all just it's theater. It's all theater. It's
Hmm.
all stage show. And until people wake up to that, we're going to be lost in this political paradigm and this globe paradigm, and it's just in the fake world paradigm. And if you don't look at what was here before, and it's all being constantly hidden, and they're hiding it with wars, they're hiding it with dams. About the
Mm.
dams.
Yes, yes.
You've been watching my lunch break.
Yes, I've watched some of his stuff. Yes, yes.
Yeah, you got to watch all of his stuff. My lunch break.
Yeah,
He
he's very
one
interesting.
thing he pointed out is in India, in Egypt, and all these places where there's incredible ancient temples and sites that do not fit our timeline. They can't get rid of them all, so they build dams and they put them all underwater, so you can't get to them. So
Yes.
in Egypt, they built a dam that buried 1,300 archaeological sites, 1,300 sites, right? And then they say nobody is allowed to scuba dive there because they don't want you to disrupt or pilfer the ancient sites. Wait a minute. They just buried them in hundreds of feet of water, and now they say you can't scuba dive because they don't want you to disrupt the sites. It
Yeah.
is, it is retarded.
It's
The
rules for
world,
thee
the
and not
world
for
has
me.
gone full retard.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, dude, completely full retard. Nobody listened to Robert Downey Jr. 15 years ago. You never go full retard. When
yeah.
he was playing the dude as the other dude. But dude, okay, so back to like nukes because that's something that all my friends, it's like, okay, I'm like a step out of libertarian. I don't really want to identify with any groups anymore, like when it comes to politics. But I can sit there and rationally look at, like, wait, so my tax dollars supplied money to Israel and Iran over the decades, and the weapons that are being shot at both these countries, as well as other countries fighting with each other. It's like Robert Downey Jr., the first Iron Man, when he sees his name on the side of weapons that the terrorists are using. You're like, well, as long as I've got my tax dollars going overseas to shit, I'm gonna bitch about it as much as I want. You kind of see what I'm saying? But a lot of people, they still have this fear of like nukes. And I'm like, dude, I don't think nukes, like you said, they're not what they've been told. They make literally no sense, even if you just think of it on a layman's term
Yep.
situation. Like, why would Russia have whatever thousands and thousands, and China has their amount and we have our amount? If it just takes one or two, or even if just everybody had one and they all launched at the same time, why do you need thousands of nukes? It makes no sense, just even on that basis.
Yeah, I mean, and just the fact that nukes are ridiculous. 11,000 year half life of the radiation. But meanwhile, people, plants, and animals still live in Nevada, in Hiroshima, Nagasaki. They're thriving. None of this is true. There's video. There's actual video of troops stacking TNT at Ground Zero in Nagasaki, in Hiroshima, prior to the explosions. All of the buildings that didn't have fireproofing burned down. The ones that had fireproofing were somehow nuke resistant, right?
Mm-hmm.
3 days later, the sandwich shops were open, the trains were running, they were selling flowers on the street, and no one was allowed to report on it. They put in jail except one guy that worked for the Associated Press or whatever agency. It is it's so obvious, it's so stupid, but people want to hold on to their nukes, they want to hold on to their globe, and they want to scream and kick and defend it, and they don't even know anything about it.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, Nagasaki and Hiroshima, you see, even just like before we drop the nukes, when we see like the old testing videos, or maybe that's after, whatever, whenever the fear mongering, seeing all the black and white videos that we were watching. Yeah, okay, that was before, obviously, at like White Sands, New Mexico and
Yeah,
stuff. And you see those videos and you realize even Joe Rogan and people call them out. They're like, dude, these are sets. Like, people back
dude,
then, they were so scared because that's all they had to see. But nowadays, hindsight, looking back, you're like, this is such clearly
it's so hard.
bullshit.
It's a clear little model, and there's all sorts of anomalies. I have one where it's from the plane that dropped the bomb, or some other military plane, and it shows a bomb going off on some island, nuclear bomb, ba boom. Now a nuclear explosion, it will knock over trees, it'll knock over people, it'll pulverize houses. Will it affect the cloud? The
You,
nuclear bomb blows up and its explosion mushroom goes through a cloud. Do you think the cloud would be affected? Answer is of course. It would just
yeah,
be obliterated. We show the clouds, the nuclear bomb explodes, engulfs the whole thing, passes through it. When the whole mushroom disappears, the exact same clouds are there.
of course. Yeah.
It's just fake as
Yeah.
F.
Right, right. And I mean, yeah, you said the name of the plane. Well, it reminded me, the name of the plane is Enola Gay. And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, they even put it right there. It's like
Yeah,
nukes
right.
they're faking gay. It's right there in the name. I didn't think of that till just now.
I didn't think of that until you just said it. So I like it. Yeah. Everything's
Um,
fake and gay.
It really is. And that kind of just goes to like it's just all fear mongering. We see fear mongering on any aspect of all of this, whether it's we do well, okay, fear mongering also of like keeping these wars going, forever wars, and we're trying to ramp up, whatever. But we also saw back to like you were saying, erasing history. We saw so many biblical sites that were getting just decimated over the past 20 years by our own bombs, by Al Qaeda, by ISIS, by whoever else. I mean, there's just video after video of them just like toppling old, whether it's their biblical sites, our biblical sites, whoever's. But you're like, man, it's that easy, and that's the same kind of slippery slope into the Tartaria conversation because meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Like the new guy comes in and just says, "Tear this shit down. It's my turn," And the last guy built on his own, and that's his story. And here we are. It's like people are kind of expecting the rapture. Some people are soon, and they're expecting Jesus to come back and brink of World War III. And we're like, yeah, but if we've destroyed half of the sites over the past 25 years, where do we know
Yeah.
to go?
In Iraq, they an archaeologist discovered um, Gilgamesh's tomb and actually found the whole village or whatever. And and then 6 months later or less, we invade Iraq and they take over that site and they build a base over it. They literally bury it in cement and build
Hmm.
a base there. Right. And we do that all over the world. All of these military bases. And again, my lunch break points a lot of this stuff out. They're building these bases wherever they're finding old world stuff and a lot of underground old world stuff. Um, like Cheyenne Mountain, right? We didn't build that. We didn't build that. That's an old world under a city under that mountain. And
Hmm.
they just took it over. And when it's a military base, no one can go there. No one's allowed to see it. So that's what's going on.
And if some of those places are like energy generators and stuff too, by dumping thousands and thousands of pounds of concrete on there, you're
Yep.
taking you're taking those powers away. I mean, call it woo woo or whatever you want. I know you and I are on the same page on it, but some people are like, "What the hell?" You're like, dude, certain bricks, red bricks, conduct energy. Others, it's just the nature of like if you've ever worked
Right.
electrical work or anything like that, air conditioning work, polarities. What things are this? Well, this is hot. This is a neutral. This is so it goes to show you that like the energy sources that we know nowadays. It's just a dumb joke I've made for years before I even really got deep into these, free energy subjects. Is like, yeah, of course they're going to shut down at Tesla because why give free energy when a light bulb's going to burn out? Capitalism, baby. Just go change another one when, go to the store. So
Right.
it's all hidden. But like you said, star forts, that's kind of that same idea. Some of these weird military bases, why are they strategically placed where they are? A lot are 33rd degree parallels, which is supposed to
Right.
have a lot of energy. You're like, it
And
doesn't
that's
take too
there's
long for people to find.
there's a website called Starfort Finder or something, and it literally is documenting all the star forts that have been discovered, and it's amazing. I think it's called Starfort Finder.
Right on.
Yeah,
What do
check it
what do
out.
you think, man? Like, even you said Epic at Gilgamesh, excuse me. Um, but yeah, the Epic at Gilgamesh, you've got Gilgamesh's tomb that is even in some of the Hillary Clinton emails. Like, so, just goes to show you, like, even Hitler was looking for all these religious sites around the world and looking for the Holy Grail and some of these things, Shroud of Turin, and there's something to this that it's not always just a land battle like they
You know,
want you to think.
you know how Biden was just a puppet put in place, and literally had no power to do anything. I'm starting to think that the same thing is with Hitler, that he was literally just a madman on the street. Like, hey, that guy, he seems to be gathering up a crowd in all of his rants. And they brought him in, they put a suit on him, and they said, hey, you're going to play this part of this world leader. And he was literally just an idiot.
Useful idiot. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. A methed up idiot that's going to be
Yeah. You saw
provocative.
the things with him rocking in his chair and
Oh my
everything.
God. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's so, I don't think any of these world leaders are real. I think it's all fake and gay.
They're all puppets, man. Like they're just propped up, like you said. And then, even we don't have, I mean, I can talk World War II shit if you want to all day long, but even just on the basis of it, like you realize all the money and it was a banker's war. They're all bankers' wars, but you see all the, whether it's the Rothschilds or whether it's, over here and you got the damn, because Rothschilds are here too, but I'm saying like Rockefellers and Ford Company and everybody else's money going invested into the war. There's no reason to not have the war because everybody daddy warbuck style is making their money. So as long as you got this crazy provocative kind of guy like Hitler to where you just put him, because that's what they were doing, the liquid meth or whatever IV kind of style shit or whatever. I don't know what the exact term was, but they kind of created it. So Hitler just go get him high, put him up on the stage, kind of like what they did with Biden, like you're saying, and let him
Yeah.
just spout a bunch of nonsense and then get everybody riled up and pissed off. And you're like, meanwhile, there's some other shit going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, and just looking at other world leaders that they've demonized, like Gaddafi. Um,
Mm-hmm.
when I was a kid, I remember Gaddafi made a speech at the UN, and I watched it live on TV, or maybe recorded, but I think it was live. And he was angry, and the translators were just giving us like little bits and pieces of what he was saying. Basically, they're saying that he wanted to blow up take out the evil America, and we're just like, they just made him, everybody hate him and think he was an evil dictator, and that anybody opposed to him, he chopped their heads off, and just all sorts of wild stuff. But now, if you find that speech and have it translated, some people took these famous speeches and had them translated with AI. And if you they take them and they make AI into like a white person, like a general saying the speech in English, and people are
Okay.
like, well, that's an amazing speech, and that everyone's like, that's amazing. And with Hitler, with Gaddafi, but
Yeah.
the Gaddafi one, basically, he was saying that the New World Order is going to try to depopulate the world with turning everyone into human pincushions, and
Yeah.
just everything that's going on now, and how that we all need to fight to stop it. And so that's why they took him out. He made his country, which was the poorest, most uneducated country in Africa, to the one of the leading countries in Africa.
Yeah, yeah. Didn't what he had like what like free clean water and
It
everything
was,
for.
well, first he did the great man-made river. This is the greatest tragedy in all of history. You don't know anything about it, or maybe you do. Um, he discovered an ocean of water below the ocean, below the desert, when he was looking for oil. an ocean of pristine, ancient, primary water, and he started piping it all across Africa. It took 40 years, giant pipes buried in the desert, hugest aquifer project in all of history. And any family that wanted to have a farm, he gave them land, animals, tractors, water, seeds, but they had to grow organic farms. And all these organic farms were popping up all over Africa, and Africa is going to become self-sustaining. And Hillary Clinton and the UN and Obama got together and blew it up with depleted uranium bombs, and we
Hmm.
didn't hear anything about it. It's absolutely incredible. He nationalized oil instead of having the corporations make the money. He had the people make the money from the oil.
And then it just makes the rest of the country prosperous if you do that
Yeah,
anyways, because
yeah, yeah.
everything you just laid out, it's like, if it's Bobby Boucher from the Water Boy, that's some high quality H2O. Like you found some pure ass water that's like non-tainted, non-BP oil spills, non this, like this is purest of pure. You're allowing the farmers to use it, which is making the idea, like you said, all the farm has to be organic as well. So now you've got pure water, you got organic fruits and vegetables and foods, whatever they cook or they grow over there. I don't
Yep.
know what their agriculture is, but you get all that going, and then everybody's going to be healthier. Because
It
not the
can't have
farmers aren't going
that.
to eat all that
Can't have
food.
that.
It's
Right.
going to the
Yeah.
market. So yeah, can't have healthy people, can't have self-sufficiency, and you
Yeah.
cannot have Africa thrive. They can't have that. You need Bill Gates to come give you another vaccine to tell you
If
not to thrive.
if this is new information for anybody, go to my YouTube page. I think it's on my DITRH, which stands for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. You can find all my YouTube channels on flatearthdave.com and just search Gaddafi or Great Man-Made River. And I have two short videos. Watch them, and if you don't know about Gaddafi, now you will. And what's funny is I have a T-shirt shop, and I have a great picture of Gaddafi, a black and white, just profile of him, and I put it up, and I titled it, "Great World Leaders," and the T-shirt companies wouldn't print it. They're like, "Oh no, we can't print that," and I had to call it "Fallen World Leaders" to get them to print it.
Right,
Yeah,
there you go. If it
yeah.
was a Che Guevara shirt, though, that'd have been
It
amazing.
looks like it
Yeah.
looks like Che Guevara. He looks a little. They look a little similar. When I wear it, people are like, "Is that Che Guevara?" I'm like, "No, it's Gaddafi."
Yeah. Man, it's crazy. They like they freaking sodomized him like on TV, like with a sword or some shit. Like
Yeah, I don't know
it's
what is that
insane.
even real? I mean, that seemed real, but is that even real?
Yeah, I mean, even like the face, like his face looks so crazy,
Well,
but at the same time, it's also like I don't know, like
the,
some old horror
the
movies. It's
thing
like
the
it
thing
looked
with
like Leatherface. I'm like, is
yeah
it even his face? Is that a
is
mask? I don't
the
know.
thing like when they did the same thing to Saddam Hussein, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much. Um,
Mm-hmm.
well, there was like a ripe fig tree, and the like when they did that was supposedly taken. Like figs don't bloom that time of year. So again, is
Mm.
what is real?
Keen eye, dude. Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. It's we don't know what and the thing a lot of truthers do, like something that fits their narrative, they won't question it, but something that doesn't fit their narrative, they question it. There's lots of things that point to flat Earth that you need to question because they're not right. Like there's a video put on by some Brazilian guys where they did 5 flat Earth tests and they all came out pointing to flat Earth. And but the whole movie was literally to get you to believe that flat Earth was floating in space. But the 5 tests that they did, they just talked about the tests. They talked about the measurements. They said what the measurements came out to, but they never showed the data. They never showed how did you measure the distance between the bottoms of buildings and the top of buildings at 80 miles apart, right? Because at 80 miles
Yeah.
apart, the buildings should lean away from each other. And so they just go, yeah, they measured it and it was equal. How the hell did you measure it?
Yeah, that's because you're
And the
just
fact that
guesstimating. Yeah.
and the fact that you can measure two buildings 80 miles apart proves that the earth is flat in itself. Because they're
Yes.
80 miles, there's so much curvature you wouldn't be able to see the buildings.
Because the only thing that you're really going to be able to like measure, unless you're just taking somebody's word for it, which that's what most of history really is just taking
Yeah.
somebody's word for it that's more educated, quotes, educated than you, meaning they just tell you what they, whatever. They got authority or power, your teachers, your principals, whoever. But yeah, like the only way that you'd be able to measure that, like you just pointed out, like their own fallacy in that argument is like a rangefinder. You'd have to use a rangefinder, which you wouldn't be able to use a rangefinder with a curve. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's kind of like, or even if you're just zooming in on some, like I
Right.
don't
At
know if,
80 miles, the you're almost 4,000 feet of curvature. So something would have to be 4,000 feet tall. 4,000 feet tall. That is that 400 stories, to be able to see it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, the 10
Yeah.
foot stall per story. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, dude, it just those simple anomalies. Like, I've shown friends of mine just on the basics, just the basics of just like Google, your P900 boat disappearing, reappearing, or whatever on YouTube kind of things. Just pull up those videos and even show your friends and family that think you're crazy when you bring up like whether it's biblical flat Earth or it's just distrust of NASA. And you're like, dude, that's my tax dollars again, like I was alluding to about the wars. Like, I can bitch all I want about where my tax dollars are going. And that's a whole nother rabbit hole, taxes. But I'm just saying you can show them to their face the video of the boat reappearing on the screen. And then they
And
go,
they'll just deny it. They'll go, "Oh, that's because the boat was too small."
half the time they'll deny it for me, and then the other half the time they'll just be like, well, I can't explain that. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
neither can I. I'm not saying I have the answer. I'm just saying the person that told you they have the answer is obviously full of shit. Like that
Yep.
just disproves their answer. Well, then what's the answer, smartass? I don't know, but it's not what the scientists are saying.
Yep.
It's
Earth is
crazy
flat.
shaking people.
The answer is Earth is flat. Deal with it.
Hmm. And man, it does it's just crazy that we get so tied up in these things, like whether it's just the stock market, the next economy problem, gas prices too high, this and that. And you're like, if you realize the way we kind of look at like the possibility of being able to go beyond, like beyond what we even think what the firmament is, we can go to outer lands. That brings us back to the free energy. Like, it goes to Admiral Byrd, a good buddy of mine, Luke. Shout out Luke Nagel, man. He's great nephew of Admiral Byrd. And I've had him on the podcast before. He's read the diary and stuff, and he's a really cool guy. He's also halfway on the fence. He's a very like he'll kind of look into conspiracy theories, but he also is not a guy that's like, no, they don't exist. He's a guy that's just kind of like, dude, I don't know what the hell that means. I'm like, okay, I can respect that. At least you listen.
You know,
But my point, oh, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead, finish.
I was just gonna say my point is like whether it's oil prices or whatever else, even Admiral Byrd was talking about seeing lush greenery and all these things, and you're like, so if there's things out there, there's people that wrote about it. Let's go, man. But I get it. We can't. But what were you going to say?
I was gonna say I was just listening to a TikTok live this morning, and there was a woman on who was asking about flat Earth and everything, and she said she was a granddaughter or great granddaughter of Admiral Byrd this morning, and that she has some diaries of his, and she was told that it wouldn't be good for her if she shared them, and so she's trying to figure out a way to share them without getting in trouble. It's interesting. It's just interesting that you brought up Admiral Byrd.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
interesting. That's it, like the synchronicity of it. Yeah, it's like,
yeah,
dude, you never know. I mean, like the fact that he had the balls to go on TV on that whatever it was, the watch thing, the
yeah.
chronosphere or whatever it was called, and just laid it all out. Just laid it out. And,
And he
and
had
I
a
mean,
flat Earth clock behind him. If you didn't notice,
yes, and just like the UN logo and everything else, and it's like, it's this new world order kind of bullshit that just keeps us from being able to see the truth. And then back to, like I said, the wars, if they're destroying biblical sites and they won't let us explore certain parts of the Grand Canyon. And there's all these places that we're like, why can I? This is a stupid joke I've had forever also that it's like, okay, so I could go be one of those retards that wants to climb Mount Everest and I can die. I can be the next martyr or retard to go climb Mount Everest and die up there and be like, well, at least Derek tried. But I can't go to other places because it's too risky for my life. It's like why
well,
can't
you could disturb the migratory paths of the penguins.
that too? Yeah. Or
Yeah,
they might think that you're gonna go molest some penguins too. You never
that's
know, but
the last. And yeah, it's the last pristine place on Earth.
right. There's nothing
Which
there,
is
but it's
which is
pristine. Yeah.
it's absolutely ridiculous. Um, there's a bunch of military whistleblowers. And I spoke with two guys that said that they worked at a secret base called Tigo. right? Antarctigo, and they call it Tigo. And he told me how he got there was crazy from like one post to another post, on a snowmobile, on a cat,
Mm.
you know, and it took like forever to get there. And then finally they get there, and it's a mining operation that's been going for decades. And they dig a giant hole, they pour all their garbage and sewage in it, and they fill up the hole and dig another hole. I mean, literally, if you did that here in the, anywhere in the States, you'd be put in jail, right?
Yeah.
But they're just saying because there's no one else to do with the garbage, so they just bury it. It's a mining operation of precious metals. You know what else he told me? He said they're mining lots of gold, tons and tons of gold, and other silver metals. Some of them being platinum. He said in 1980s the base released a bunch of platinum onto the market. Now platinum was more expensive than gold in the 1980s, and platinum plummeted from $1,000 to $250 when that happened. So
Mm.
now they realize that they can't dump these precious metals on the market, so they're just mining them, and they go into a big vault down there. And who knows what they're doing with it? Is it for secret budget programs? Are they trading it with fucking the Anunnaki? Who the hell knows?
Dude, I know.
But everything they tell us about Antarctica is a lie. There's stuff going on in Antarctica that's beyond what we can even imagine.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember, what was this? Probably maybe about 10 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that. But I remember people were starting to, it's like you go onto the whether it's correct or not. I'm just saying there's certain spots that, I haven't done this forever, but you can go zoom in on Google Earth or whatever just for shits and giggles. And whether those are right or not, but there were people finding weird anomaly kind of things, and especially some of them in Antarctica. But now, I mean, like I tried this 3 or 4 years ago. You go to like try to zoom in on Antarctica, and just basically it's just a big white blob. Like
Yeah,
there's no detail to it anymore. There's no more little caverns. There's no more cliffs and ledges and all that. It's just like
near
blop.
the edge you can see stuff, but in the center, which is the
That
outer areas, yeah, it's all.
that's
And
what
you
I
can't
mean.
even
Yeah.
measure Antarctica on Google Earth. You try to draw a line around it and
Hmm.
connect a line and say how many square miles is this? It absolutely inverts itself. There's two places on the Earth that do that: the North Pole and Antarctica.
What are your thoughts on the North Pole? They don't let us go there either, man.
I
Actually, before you
I
answer, Trump was talking about taking Greenland and all that shit too. I mean, I don't know. Is there something to that?
Yeah, there's something to it. I think the North Pole is where a lot of spiritual stuff is going on. I think that the North Pole is another key to showing us where we live and what's going on. I mean, maybe that's where Jesus is hanging out. I couldn't tell you, but there's some stuff going on there. If you go on my app and go to the frequently asked questions page, then go to maps, the top video on the maps is about a hidden land called the Land of Jesus, I think, and it's between Africa, it's between Alaska and Russia. You know how you can see Russia from Alaska? I think
Mm-hmm.
three time zones missing in there. And from the Russia side, you're seeing one side of this several thousand-mile wide land, and on the Russia side, on the Alaska side, you're seeing the other side, and they're telling you that it's just a little tiny island when it's not, when it's
Mm.
a couple thousand miles across, and it's just this hidden land over there.
Was it one of the royals? One of the sons, was it Henry or William or one of the two retards? Was it that they were no, no, it was Trudeau, wasn't it? Wasn't it Justin Trudeau talking about going up there with his father? Yes, that's who it was. Just did you ever
Yeah,
see
yeah,
that
yeah. He went
video?
to, yeah, yeah.
And it
That
was
was
one of the most magical places and blah, blah. And you're like, well, what if it's so magical, but we tell everybody that. And it's funny because we can go down the rabbit hole of Santa and the paganism and all the this whatever. Satan is an anagram for Santa, whatever, whatever. Like if you got kids, it's really one thing. Like you start digging into like I'm making a point. I'm just detracting a tiny bit. But with like the Santa thing, it's like, oh yeah, Santa lives in the North Pole, right? And you're like, yeah, so keep your kids happy for Christmas. And you're like, well, it's kind of creepy that some guy's watching you all year long. Santa's watching you poop on the toilet. What? That's creepy. But my point is they tell you like, well, Santa's there. You can't go disturb the North Pole. You just think of that as a kid. That's his area. And then you get older, and then you hear these other guys talk about it, and they're like, oh, it's just nothing. It's a wasteland. But then back to Google Maps again or whatever, or Google Earth, it actually shows that like a lot of people are showing that it doesn't exist. Like the North Pole is
It's
like
just
there's
water now.
nothing exactly.
There used to be the four islands there. Um,
So they're just changing it step by step, you know?
right. And there was another little psyop that happened back when Sarah Palin was in politics. She said, I could see from Russia, I can see from Alaska, I can see Russia. And that became like a big news story, how stupid she was. And they're like, no, you can see it. And basically, that was just to get people to think that, to not understand that there's more space in there. I think that there's like 3,000 miles missing. And
Mm-hmm.
the island that supposedly you can see from Alaska, and then you can see the other side of the island from Russia, is a bird sanctuary, and you're not allowed to go there, and it's guarded.
A
So,
bird
like,
sanctuary, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so it's like the penguin sanctuary in Antarctica. They always get you with the friggin' birds.
They love their birds, man.
They
Yeah.
do, they do. And I think that it's a much bigger land, and there's maps that do it. I encourage people on the app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. You can find it on my website. Check out those videos in the map section.
Yeah, dude, you brought up a great point about Sarah Palin. They made her out to be such an idiot. And I mean, she probably is an idiot, but at the same
They're all
time,
idiots. They're all idiots,
it's
but they're playing a part and just putting little seeds in our mind that sprout into
yeah,
ideas that just become ingrained. They're not even questions. It's kind of just like neuro linguistic programming. The final experiment. Oh, if this is the final experiment. If this, then that. If that, then this. Well, no, it's not a final experiment. It's not an experiment at all, and it's a false binary, right? So when people don't understand how easily they are programmed. That's it.
they don't. And they just want a one or two option solution. Like it's not like they want a multiple choice solution. They want like I've got to click A, B, C, or D. And it's like, no, I want you to fill in the space. Like write down something like, here's the question, what's the answer? There's nothing to look at to be like, well, I have to choose the right or I have to choose the left. I have to choose this. I have to choose that. You're like, no, you critically think what I'm not giving you any choice of, you kind of see what I'm saying? It's like, it's up to people to start using their own brain and imagination, whether their thoughts are right or wrong. I mean, that's our freedom of speech. You can stand on the rooftops and go like the day you go find out that the earth is flat, we want to go scream to all our friends. And then they don't want to hear it. They're falling on deaf ears. But at the same time, we're so proud to be like, dude, I found this new thing. Check this out. And all it takes is critical thinking. And most people aren't willing to do that. They're not willing to even watch the shit that you can find on YouTube. They're not willing to dig any deeper on any of it or just watch the debunking videos and debunk the debunker. You know what I'm saying? Like debunk what they're saying. Like don't just say, "Oh, that's it. That's the final solution," or not final solution. That's fucking Hitler. What was it? What was it called? The final experiment. Whoops, wrong one. What do you think about Hitler going to Antarctica? As I'm rambling,
There's clear evidence that he did not die in that bunker. He lived in Argentina for a couple decades afterwards.
they said a
Um,
couple months ago they got files on him on that. But
yeah,
continue, yeah.
but then nobody cares. You can tell people, yeah, CIA killed Kennedy. No, nobody revolts. Nobody says anything. Nobody does anything. And also, there was something like 2,000 submarines that Russia lost. They all went to Antarctica. After the war, they just all defected, and they went to Antarctica. Where'd they go? Maybe they went to the
Mm-hmm.
outposts. Maybe they went to the Iron Republic. Right? Where did they go?
Mm-hmm. And there's stories of, I mean, whether they're truthful or not, they're stories. That's all we can take from them on is just, oral tradition or written in books or whatever. But there's stories of people being able to go under the ice, to be able to go like these extra pockets and stuff. And it's
I
just
think
really
there's
interesting because with a submarine, why did Epstein own a submarine? Why did, like why do a lot of these world
there's
elites have submarines? You're like, what? I mean, it's one
there's
thing to
more
be like,
going
I'm
on
I'm buying a
underneath.
Lambo.
There's
Yeah,
more going on underneath the world than there is on top of the world. I'm convinced. There's all
right.
sorts of stuff. And then, for us surface dwellers, anything that goes on underground, we don't know. They could be doing anything. There could be some crazy shit going on 100 feet below you right now, and you would never know it.
Exactly right where you are. I mean, we only
Yeah.
dug what, I mean, not with us, the Russians, almost 8 miles. Like
Yep.
Nobody has been able to go farther than that.
But
So,
even just a quarter of a mile, a tenth of a mile below you, you wouldn't know. There's tunnels that go all across this realm, everywhere. There's cities underneath us.
hmm.
Finding them, stuff buried in mud. But I think there's actually active cities below us with ancient beings there. Maybe the Nephilim are living there. Who knows?
You okay? You just clicked something in my brain. Okay, so when I was a kid, one of my absolute favorite movies series of all time, and everybody knows the original, just first one, but I'm talking all five. I loved all five of these movies. The original Planet of the Apes. Go back and rewatch those movies, especially as a truther, Tartaria, things like that, because they feed you the first one. The first one's fantastic. Charlton Heston, obviously, right? And the end of the movie, oh, you goddamn dirty apes. You see the Statue of Liberty. It's over. He realizes he's on Earth. Second movie basically starts up right away from the first movie. It's called Beneath the Planet of the Apes. And right as it starts up, Charlton Heston goes beyond that other spot you're supposed to go to and then just like disintegrates, like perishes. You're like, oh shit, we just killed the hero. But then there's another guy that's some other astronaut with him or whatever that somehow survived. He linked up with the guy from the first. Long story short, he's the new protagonist or whatever in the movie. And then he finds that there's actual other humans that are living underground in caves. They have telekinesis. They read minds. They do this crazy shit. They have this energy underground with no lights. And you're like, well, you took the main star, Charlton Heston, out of the movie, so nobody tuned into the second one. But if you go back and watch it again, it gives you that idea of like, what's going on underground, man? Like, of what like back to rocks, energy, structures like that, depending on what kind of limestone or this or that, like you never know what these people were able to do because not to sound like a weird thing, but like the as above so below, you look at the pyramids and they're seeing the structures underneath the pyramids now, and they also point up. So what if you're pulling energy from the earth underneath, pulling energy from above from the ether? It's like, but this truth in movies, man, go back and watch Beneath the Planet of the Apes because it's like
I've
they got
seen it. I was a big fan. I watched all of them. But yeah, I need to rewatch them. And as a truther,
there's some weird shit in there that you're
yeah,
like you never caught before, but years later you're like, wait a minute. Did you ever see the O.J. Simpson movie? What the hell is it? Capricorn One?
of course.
Oh, of course, man. It's such a good movie. Even if you're not a flat Earth guy or non-NASA guy, you're like, it's such a good movie.
Yeah, it's true. Have you there's a place called, I think it's called Uzbekistan, where it's like a free energy, crazy Tartarian modern city,
hmm.
and there's like nobody there. It's like crazy buildings that are harvesting energy. I think it's Uzbekistan.
I think it's with a Z, Uzbekistan or something like that. I think
Uzbekistan, something like that.
some,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's wild, and nobody knows about it. Nobody, you can't really go there.
yeah. It's like
Wild.
why? And you see
Yeah.
these ghost cities. We see these like places that are I don't know if you've ever seen recently like this China thing that a lot of people are starting to talk about that like with the COVID thing, whether the numbers were inflated, deflated, whatever, but like China is kind of looking like been propping up their population numbers way more for a long
There,
time because there's people walking around with their cell phones going,
there's
dude,
nobody here. There's
there's
nobody.
nobody here.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
and it's wild. Well, first they're lying to us about the population. They say there's 8 billion people. I think there's 2 billion people. And so which is good news because the Georgia Guidestones say never let the population rise over 500 million. We only have to kill 1.5 billion,
We
right?
can't read those
Not
anymore, but
not
yeah.
7.5 billion. So there's good news in that. Um, but as I said before, they're lying about everything. And a lot of people throw up their hands like, "Oh, what can I do? I'm just one person. There's no difference. I still have to go to work on Monday." That's where they get you because you can do everything. One person awake, taking back their divine power, literally frees you from this matrix. All of this is just an illusion. It's all an illusion. Nobody has any power over you other than how much fear they can put in you.
hmm. I literally just changed the header on the damn Talking Stitt Facebook page today, whatever you call it, the cover photo, whatever the top one is. Or it's just the black screen with the green letters, the very beginning of the Matrix, and it says, "Wake up, Neo." You just see the, you know what I mean, the
Right.
typewriter or
Right.
the computer, and it's like that's all it takes is your friends might look at you like you're crazy, but the more they hear you like ramble about something crazy, they're like, "Okay, you know what? I'm just going to appease you at this point. What the hell are you talking about?" And they're going to pull their phone out and show you the link that they'll finally watch the link sometimes, and then all I care about is them going away going, "Well, I don't know." Well, that's better than knowing. It's like what Crow 777 says, belief is the enemy of knowing or whatever. It's like it is like you're only believing what your textbook told you, what your teacher told you, what your professor told you, what your president, whoever, your
Right.
pope, like, your pope. I don't agree with the pope. Like, I don't feel like any man should stand between me and God, but that's just my decision. But you know what I'm saying? Like, who gets to be the arbiter of truth? And who gets to tell you your opinion is wrong? Meaning, if you look into something and you feel it, that's kind of truth.
The problem is people are lazy, and people are just looking for the easiest way to do things, and the easiest way to do things is believe. Is belief is easy, right?
Hmm.
You can believe whatever you want, it takes no effort. But if you want to know the truth, you got to take time, effort, critical thought, and put in the work. But belief is easy. You can believe anything, right? You know,
Right.
I can tell you that my water bottle is filled with iced tea. You can believe it. What
I
if
don't
I don't?
know. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
see the contents. I don't
you
know. I'm just
don't
taking
know.
your word.
But
Yes.
if you want to know, you could Dave pour it into water. Let me see it. Put a pH tester in it, whatever. You know, but
Well, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
that's it.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say okay, but yeah. So another thing that's like is beliefs. Like we live in these social constructs of these ideas of what we've just grown up with. A lot of things we haven't challenged before. And I asked a buddy of mine who's a big follower of yours, his name's JP, asked him if he had a question or two that he sorry, my wife's being awesome, bringing me an extra beer. That's why I love her. But he had a really cool question that you've spoken on before, and I'm not sure like if you completely practice this or not. It might just be my ignorance, but on the sovereign citizen things, like we believe that we have to pay taxes. We believe that we have to do license our car, all these things like that. What are your thoughts and like what do you know about those kind of those rabbit holes?
I know that you are not responsible for paying taxes unless you fill out a 1040 and sign it and say that you owe the taxes. But the thing is, you have to understand the system. You can't just not comply, not
Right, right.
you can't just say no. You have to understand the system. And there's lots of different things you can do from the sovereign citizen. There's a thing called the 575E, which is absolutely amazing. Um, and it's really, really easy. So, anyone who's interested in that, there's a website called my575e.com. And go there. I'd pay the $25 to get a consultation with the guy, and he'll walk you through, what it is. And there's my recommendation.
Well, cool because see, he's also like a hunter and stuff like that, and he's into like just government can kiss my ass, screw the two-party politics. And he was kind of just thinking of it on like, well, like your driver's license. You said, send I can send him that link and everything too. But I'm also saying like driver's license, he was thinking like, well, hunting license or things like that. Like if you're kind of opting out of the system, then how are you able to, that's where they kind of get you is if you, I guess if you're not researched on it, then that's where they wait for you to be like, well, I'm not going to pay my taxes or I'm not going to drive with a driver's license. They're like, well, you didn't do your homework. You're fucked, buddy.
Yep.
So
Hey, everybody, a quick message that I'd like to share with all of you. Our lives are filled with toxins in our air, food, and even in the information we're taught. Avoiding them all is impossible, but helping your body detox doesn't have to be complicated. That's where Masterpiece comes in. Just 5 drops under your tongue twice a day, and that's it. Super easy, super simple, and it doesn't even taste bad. I've tried countless supplements, and while generally I'm pretty healthy, I didn't really feel much of an effect. But with Masterpiece, it delivered noticeable benefits. Check out the podcast I did with Terry from Masterpiece, linked below this video, or you can find links directly to Masterpiece on my website, flatearthdave.com, or in the shopping section on the app. The key to health is to detoxify. Now back to the show.
and so let's say presidents. What are your thoughts on Trump? On just, every president's going to make you promises every year, just like whether you're in high school, I'll make the vending machines free. They get elected, they can't make the vending machines free. Like, hey, whatever, thanks for getting me in office.
Everything that Trump said he was going to do was awesome. Sounded great. Everything's amazing.
Right.
But he hasn't done any of it. He's done the opposite of everything. He said to Hillary last time, if I was president, you'd be in jail. And then he honored her at at the dinner a couple days later. And Clintons are great people. And everything he said, he's the father of vaccines. He pushed it, got it done in the shortest period of time. And now he's saying that he wasn't responsible for it. He's just flim flam and he's just confusing people's minds, getting them tired. But the thing that really, finalized it with me with Trump was the assassination attempt. If you looked into that, it is the
I did.
dumbest. It's the dumbest thing ever. I mean, the whole friggin' ear. Like if you nick your ear, you're covered in blood. He had his ear, the top of his ear shot off. There was no blood going down his face. And a couple days later, there's no scar. There's no nothing. It's just
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing. And if you don't know about it, go to stoplookthink.com. Stoplookthink.com. Scroll down. There's a bunch of bars there. One of them says Trump assassination. Watch all the videos on that page, and then you'll know. The problem is the people that have the Trump derangement syndrome, and I mean, those are the ones that are deranged thinking that he's going to save us, not the opposite. They won't watch the videos because they're like, no, I can't watch that video because he's playing 5D chess, Dave. You don't
Oh
understand.
my God. He can't even play checkers. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
oh, that was my joke. He can't even play tic-tac-toe.
So if he's faking an assassination, I'm just kidding, YouTube. Just kidding. If
I
he's
don't
fake,
go to YouTube, so
yeah,
say whatever, brother. I
yeah,
trust the Swedens and with
yeah.
fucking what is Spotify, so you're good.
If he's faking it,
He's an actor.
then he's in
Oh,
it. Yeah, of course.
surprise,
Yeah,
surprise. He's an
yeah,
actor. Trump's only been in The Little Rascals. He's been in Home Alone 2. He's been in all these rap songs. Everybody loved him to live. And this isn't an endorsement of Trump. It's showing that he was already a media figure. He was already a guy. He was like Uz Machismo or whatever. He's just like a guy that whether you love him or hate him, people like recognize his presence in the room. Now that gets into auras and shit, whether it's good or bad aura, but at the same time, you could have your back turned and all of a sudden you could just feel the vibe if Trump walked in the room. Like you kind of see what I'm saying? That's not an endorsement of him whatsoever. I'm just getting at there's a reason why he's in the position he is. And I'm not calling him Hitler, but I'm not denouncing it 1,000% either because what I was alluding to earlier about like get Hitler messed up and like you were saying use Hitler as a puppet, get him up there just yelling a bunch of shit to the people and get them cheering along and pumping their fist. I
yeah.
get why people make the Hitler references on the kind of MAGA cult because it's like, dude, do people really want America first? Do we want freedom? Do we want, and like we should love everybody. But Trump, I think, is just a giant psyop to a lot of people that aren't willing to admit that every president has their part. Whether they know they're in that part or not, you're in the Truman Show, man. You're watching Truman right now or whatever. Like Trump thinks he's running shit and he's not in charge of nothing. Christoph is hitting the water and making it rain. Like Trump is just an entertainment figure, but I'm sorry, I'm rambling. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, you nailed it. A lot of people just don't want to face that. Um, it's interesting, maybe there are some good people in government trying to bring this whole thing down. I haven't seen it yet. Maybe Trump is not playing 5D chess; he's playing eight dimensional chess. And
Yeah, he's
you
20
know,
sided dice. Yeah.
listen, I could only pray that that's the case, but so far I've seen less than zero evidence of that.
Right. And then we see him going after Thomas Massey lately when honestly, I don't really care for any elected official, but like Thomas Massey and Rand Paul, if any elected officials on the right seem to be speaking a little bit of sense here and there, they just get squished by their own party. Like they're all piranhas. You got a messed up flipper. We're gonna eat you alive. Trump's tweeting like crazy that we're gonna primary your ass, Thomas Massey, and you're like, why? Because I'm just saying, let's not bomb people that are thousands of miles away, and let's not we don't have Toby Keith to rile us up into another war. I'm just joking, but dude, I don't want to keep you all night, Dave. I know you've had a long day and everything, and I've had a blast, dude.
You
So
wanted to talk about the two sons, I think you said. Was
yes,
that
I
you?
did want to ask about that, dude. Let's
Good.
close with that. What are your opinions on that?
So, have you seen my eclipse video where I show that during a solar eclipse, the moon goes behind, or whatever is eclipsing the sun is going behind the sun?
Mm-hmm.
And during an eclipse, when the sun is, 80, 90% eclipse, there's less light coming, and you're able to see the source sun behind the sky. I say the sky is like watching a rear projection movie. Like they used to have in the park, they'll have a sheet hanging down and they'll project the movie on the back. And if you look real carefully through the sheet, you can see the projector. You
Mm-hmm.
can see light projecting the movie. You can see it through the sheet. Well, I think that's how we see the sun. And so there's times when there's the fires, when the smoke is in the sky, when the certain just the weather conditions, the chemtrails are just right, and you can see two suns. Now that's what I think we're seeing. Now, Crope 777 Radio, he thinks there actually are two separate suns in there. He very well might be right. But one thing you have to be careful of, lots of the double sun things we're seeing are people that are filming it through double pane glass,
Okay,
and they're
gotcha.
seeing two suns through the glass.
So, are
Right?
you saying like that reflection is like kind of shifting the second one,
You're
possibly?
just seeing a double reflection. Like, look,
Uh-huh.
if you have a double pane window, go look at the moon through it. You'll see two moons sometimes,
Okay.
but that's not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying be careful. It's like when testing moonlight to be colder. Moonlight is definitely colder, proven. But
Mm-hmm.
there's 100 ways to do that test and get a false positive. Doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means you did that test wrong,
And then
right?
it's another way for somebody to try to debunk you,
Yeah, yeah.
possibly.
So
And then,
just be,
yeah.
but there are plenty of videos out there of a double sun. I saw a double sun with my naked eyes, and it was I it I think what we're seeing is the second sun is the source of the sun that we see, the one that we're supposed to
I
see.
got you. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
like a flashlight or like the bat signal or whatever, it's coming from one source and then you're seeing it projected to the other. It's kind of what you're saying. And then they're kind of overlapping a little bit, but it's
Yeah,
not.
well, like if there was a sheet in the room, if I had a sheet in a room and I'm on one side of the sheet and you're on the other, and I got a flashlight, I'm shining a circle onto that sheet. You can see the circle on a sheet from the other side, but if you look through the sheet, you can also see the flashlight,
Gotcha.
and
Uh-huh.
that's the second sun. That's what people are calling the second sun.
It's really interesting, man, because I went trying to look for it. I live in Oklahoma, and unfortunately, I like when everybody else was posting all their photos, I didn't get to see it. But I mean, I did get to see it, like kind of being that reddish color and everything, but I didn't get to see that little double, like everybody kept sharing the MasterCard symbol. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about? Like
it look it.
MasterCard,
Hey, there's something to it. You know,
truth and everything, brother. Yeah.
Crow is saying that there's going to be a time, probably very soon, that everyone will see two suns in the sky. And I can't. I think he's right. What is it? Anything in the sky but higher than we can reach is speculation. So we can speculate all day. Love speculating. Anything beyond 60 degrees south, where we're not allowed to explore independently, is speculation. But I don't mind speculating because there's lots of evidence, about it. But we don't need to speculate to prove the shape of the Earth, because it measures flat. It is flat, and everything
Hmm.
about it tells us it's flat.
Yeah, back to trust the narrative, trust the science. Like, okay, that's like it just proves that okay, we trusted it. Nobody looked into it. Some people did. And then some people added up the calculations, whether it's flat earth, whether it's vaccines, whether it's this, whether it's whatever, whether it's AIDS, whatever it's all these narratives, World War II, Vietnam War, all these things, poppy fields in Afghanistan, like wait a minute. We just trusted the narrative. That's all we did. We just trusted somebody on TV. We trusted somebody reading from a book like Eddie Bravo. You're friends with him. It's like he'll say like, "Oh, people say go read a book instead of watch a YouTube video." You're like, "Oh, nobody's ever lied in a book before." It's
Right.
like,
People are like, where's your degree? I'm like, you know how you get a degree? You memorize and regurgitate what they want you to know. If you question it, you don't get your degree.
1,000%, man.
It's
Well, hey, dude, like
crazy.
I said, I don't want to keep you too long. God bless you. You're awesome, man. You're a wealth of information, and thank you
Thanks,
for
man.
keeping up with me for jumping around all over the place. That's what I do. I'm kind of
All good.
schizo, and
It's all
I got
good.
too many ideas, and I can't always rein them in.
Yeah, it's all right.
You got any
Um,
closing thoughts? And remind everybody where they can find you, brother. And everything will be in the show notes as well.
yeah. Just the only thing, only place you could. I'm on X. I'm on Facebook. I'm all over the place. I have a bunch of YouTube channels, but everything is linked at flatearthdave.com. Go there, click on all the social media links, subscribe to them. On TikTok, a lot of times in the mornings, I'm on these live debates. They're really fun. I might start holding my own. Um, flatearthdave.com, and of course get my app, the app, if you really want to learn about flat earth and teach others. There's all sorts of new features on there. Have you seen it? Have you seen
I
the
I
flashcards?
okay, I got a new phone 2 months ago. I
Yeah.
didn't download it yet onto my new phone. So
All right.
I have an account. I've still got it, but I just haven't
Just
literally updated my new phone.
log in with
I
the same.
know, I've just been lazy. But
Wait,
anyways,
and
continue.
by the way, if you have this, if it's the same app store account, you can download it for free, so you don't have to pay for it again.
I know, I'm just lazy. I
All
forget.
right.
But
Yeah, yeah.
anyways,
Come on, but
continue.
we have there's over 220 flat earth proof flashcards that you can easily share with anybody. Boom, you pull up a flashcard. Hey, that's a good one. Let me send that to Derek. Boom.
Okay, okay,
And
hell
then
yeah, yeah.
you send it to him, you email it, airdrop it. Super fun. Like if
Nice.
you're when you go to a concert, find a couple cards that you like, and then airdrop it to everyone that has their airdrop on.
Awesome. Okay, that's genius. I love that. Dude, you've always got these awesome ideas. Like it's that's what's so cool
I'll
about
tell
your
you a
app.
funny story on the way out. I went to a Fish concert with my kids in Madison Square Garden. You know Fish, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it was packed. And the last song goes, and we're like, all right, we're gonna make a run for it. We let's get out of here. And we running down the hallway, and we get to this exit bank of like 25 doors. Boom, 25 doors, but they're locked. And the security
Oh.
guard there is trying to radio in saying, open up, door D, open up, open up. And so people are coming in, and it's starting reminding me of like the Who concert where people got trampled.
Uh-huh. Yep.
So it's getting packed, and the guards are freaking out because they can't get the doors open, and
Oh
people are
shit.
just coming in. So what do? I quickly open up my phone. I had a whole bunch of flat Earth memes, and I started airdropping them to everybody.
Nice. Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I wasn't afraid of dying, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna make sure everybody has some good flat Earth memes.
Spread the wealth, brother.
Yeah, there you go. That's my funny story, but it's true. True
I
story.
love it. I love it.
All right,
Well,
flatearthdave.com. Thanks, brother.
dude, thank you, man. Stit heads, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Talking Stit. Flat Earth Dave, you'll see him in the show notes. You know where to find him. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to keep putting the ass in classy and peace out, bitches.
Hey, everyone. If you enjoyed this interview, please help support my work and help wake up others by referring or gifting the app to at least one person today. By doing that, you're going to help wake people up and help me to continue doing other interviews like this. With the censorship out there that's going on, it's very difficult to find relevant information. And the app, as you know, brings people to the truthful information of our world. So help support my work, help support your efforts in waking up friends, family, and strangers. Gift them the app or just recommend the app. And let's make 2025 the year Flat Earth breaks free. Check the links below for information on how to gift the app or just refer the app to others and use your referral code to earn Dome cryptocurrency and a free subscription. Thanks.